As we prepare to celebrate Christmas, it's a good time to think about why and what we do in preparation for Christmas as Christians. I think there's no better place to begin in the beginning of December than examining the four Gospels as a body of work, particularly the introductions and what they give us. Matthew gives us a genealogy that traces Jesus from the tribes of Israel of old in antiquity, back to prior to the time of Moses. In the Gospel of John, we get a philosophical view that shows the preeminence of Jesus, his sonship, his lordship, his co-eternality, his co-equality. In Mark, we get a prophecy that tells us about the coming of a witness who will foretell the birth of the Son. And then in Luke, we get another genealogy from Jesus' other parent. This is an important time in your liturgical faiths, Orthodox faiths. They call it Advent, and it's weeks of preparation leading up to Christmas. We prepare ourselves to celebrate the birth of Christ. We prepare our families. We spend extra time in prayer. We spend extra time in devotion in anticipation of this season where generosity, charity, and giving end up being so much more important. Let me read you something. Inasmuch as many have undertaken to draw a narrative concerning the things that have been fulfilled among us, even as they who from the beginning were eyewitnesses and ministers of the word have handed them down to us, I also have determined, after following up on all things carefully, from the very first, to write for thee, most excellent Theophilus, which can mean a person named Theophilus or the people of God, an orderly account that thou mayest understand the certainty of the words in which thou hast been instructed. That's what Luke's introduction gives us prior to the story of Zechariah, Elizabeth, this witness, and then this other genealogy from one of Jesus' parents. In the days of Herod, king of Judah, there was a certain priest named Zachary of the course of Abia, and his wife was of the daughters of Aaron, and her name was Elizabeth. That's important. Zechariah is a priest, and Elizabeth is from the line of the Levites, the priests. Both were just before God, walking blamelessly in all the commandments and ordinances of the Lord. But they had no son, for Elizabeth was barren, and they were both advanced in years. And the gospel is told to us right from this very first story when the angel Gabriel, the same from the Old Testament who had stood knee-deep in the mud and blood and bones, who had interacted with Daniel, who had interacted with many of the Old Testament characters, who had so lovingly told Mary about what was going to happen to her. He strikes Zechariah mute because Zechariah lacks faith. He's perfect and blameless in the law as far as God's concerned, but he is struck mute until the birth of his son for lack of belief. And we get a whole staging of the gospel from this moment. So as you look forward to the Christmas season, this is a time of year where we should be doing kind of self-inventories about our character, where we can improve, where we can act with mercy. Here's the challenge, friends. Act with mercy regardless of the ideology of individuals that you encounter. That's our big flaw in the West. Increasingly, we've been taught to be afraid of people not like us, and we've been taught that you can only help people who share the same ideology you do. Well, that's bunk. That's not what Christians are taught. We are to be merciful to a fault. We are to be merciful without thinking about whether or not we should be merciful. Mercy, grace, charity. These things are crucial. And as we begin this Christmas season, I hope you'll remember those people that are in need. And I hope that when you encounter others, you will try to look into their eyes and see their spirit. See them as a child of God. See them as another human being, graced with time here on this beautiful earth. Just a little message for you today. Happy Sunday. If you'd like to support our work, we are now an incorporated ministry and your tithe can be tax deductible. In the links in the description, you'll find PayPal, Cashapp, Venmo. You can also send a check to Evangelist Nick Garrett at P.O. Box 831, Chesapeake Beach, Maryland 20732. I have several ministry projects going on, but a lot of what I do is just on the street every day, and you won't hear about it because I'm not bragging about it, and the Lord tells us not to let our right hand know what our left hand is doing. So you can be part of something like that by helping our ministry, because we are out in the streets every day doing it. God bless you. Talk to you next time.